Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In 2 Kings chapter 5, we read about a very famous story of Naaman, who was a captain of the army of Aram, and he had leprosy. And this story teaches us about how he was able to find cleansing from his leprosy by getting into contact with Elisha, dipping in the Jordan 7 times, and being cleansed. And this story is very famous because it very easily illustrates how we find cleansing through Jesus Christ. And it's used oftentimes for that purpose. And oftentimes either Naaman's focused on, or Elisha, or the waters of Jordan. But what is oftentimes overlooked is the little Israelite servant girl who actually caused all this to take place, because she was a faithful witness of Elisha and his ability by the hand of God to bring about this cleansing. We read about this in chapter 5 starting in verse 2, where it says, "Now the Arameans had gone out in bands and had taken captive a little girl from the land of Israel, and she waited on Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, 'I wish that my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria. Then he would cure him of his leprosy.'" A very simple testimony, but a very powerful testimony, because it led to Naaman getting into contact with the prophet that she spoke about and finding this cleansing that she referred to. And this was a very thoughtful thing for her to do. As she heard about her master's physical condition, she had the information that could help him, and she gave that information to Naaman's wife, and it did lead to this cleansing. This is a very thoughtful thing, but we could also think about how cruel it would have been had she not given this information. To know that she knew of a prophet who was working mighty miracles by the hand of God, and not tell Naaman's wife about it, and just withhold that information and just watch Naaman waste away by leprosy. That would have been a very cruel thing to do as well. And so as we think about it, in connection to the people that we come into contact with on a day-to-day basis, we can see that oftentimes we come across people who may not have leprosy, but they are stricken with the disease of sin. And sin is wasting away at their lives. And sin will eventually lead to death, as we read about in Romans chapter 6 and verse 23. The wages of sin is death. And we know that as long as a person has sin in their heart, sin in their lives, sin that has not been cleansed and taken care of by Jesus Christ, will eventually cause them to waste away and to die in their sins. And so a very thoughtful thing to do would be to share the information that we have about a prophet, about Jesus Christ, who is much more than a prophet. He was actually and is the Son of God, and has the ability to bring about the forgiveness of sins, the cleansing of sins through his work on the cross. And it'd be a very thoughtful thing to share that with someone who is wasting away in sin. But also we could think about how cruel it is not to give that information out. To watch people day in and day out who are under the bondage of sin, under the condemnation of sin, who continually carry their sins with them each and every day, and not to share with them the fact that we know a person who could cleanse them of their quote unquote leprosy, who could cleanse them of the spiritual disease that they have and give to them eternal life. How cruel would it be for us to withhold that information? And so we should be inspired by this little Israelite servant girl and say, you know what, we want to give a simple testimony, but yet a powerful testimony, a testimony that is very thoughtful, one that will help people in their spiritual circumstances in connection to God, and will help them to find cleansing through Jesus Christ. It might very well be that just a simple message about Jesus might lead to a very powerful and mighty cleansing in their lives, as we see here in 2 Kings chapter 5. So let's be like this Israelite servant girl and give the information, share the message about Jesus Christ to other people so that they can find cleansing in a much more powerful way than even Naaman found cleansing here in 2 Kings chapter 5. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.